Kolbrin Bible, Book 4, Sons of Fire, Chapter 13, The Rolls of Record, 7. SOF 13:1. In the 27th year came Emos, who was a learned man, and with him came Zadok, who was one of us. Masu, son of Chanthel, came also, and others in 4 large ships. Kedah came in a ship apart. SOF 13:2. They were welcomed, and Kedah set up a place of learning, and many came and sat before him. When Kedah died, those whom he had taught said, "Let us record the knowledge of our master, so that it may be added to the records and not lost." SOF 13:3. We who are the pupils of Kedah, and have been blessed by him and purified by water, shall be one. From this day we will call ourselves by the name he gave us, which is Bartha Hadesha Hathid. The meaning of the words is lost. SOF 13:4. God and goodness are one and alike. God is not a person, but the Supreme Spirit. He made the earth so that it brought forth men and women, and they lived together in a faraway land, where everything was pleasant, even the forest. Women tempted man, so that he ate something which was part of God, and man was punished, for he is responsible for women. SOF 13:5. Children were born in their generations, and multiplied, until earth was filled. They built cities of stone, and cut channels for water to flow away, and make lakes. They were cunning workers in stone, and in wood, and in ivory. They made instruments from firestone and pottery in many colors. They raised up temples to the sunlight, and worshipped inside many pillars, but within the temples were inner temples, where greater things were known. SOF 13:6. In the land of Copper, which was the land of the golden light, 1 man in 12 was a priest. There were priestesses who took care of them and watched over the sacred elements within the temples. The headdresses of the priests were red, and they wore feathers and cloaks of black. They had circlets of gold and beads of silver, and there was a spiral of black stones at their waist. SOF 13:7. There was war between those who lived within the city and those who lived beyond its limits. Those who lived within the city grew all kinds of things and clothed themselves with the labor of their hands. Those who lived outside the city were hairy hunters, clad in the skin of wild animals. SOF 13:8. Outside the grounds of the city there was a holy mountain, and priests lived within it. The men of the city brought them herbs and fruit with bread and wine. The men who were not of the city brought them sheep and goats and beasts of the chase. SOF 13:9. The men of the city loved wealth like city dwellers, and were less generous than those who gained their food by strength and hunting. The men of the city held back portions of their dues, and caused the priests to look upon them less kindly. When the great day of the sun came, and the high priest gave his blessing of fruitfulness, he withheld it from the city dwellers, and gave it only to the hunters and herdsmen. That night, when those who had received the blessings were rejoicing beside the mountain, the city dwellers fell upon them and slew many. This was the cause of a great war in which many men died. SOF 13:10. Men did to men what their natures inclined them to do, but they also ravaged women and children. The evil grew in greatness until the land could no longer contain it, and had to be purged clean. Therefore the revenging dragon was called up out of the heavenly abyss, and it lashed the land with fire and thunder. The whole land was filled with its smoky breath, and men choked to death. SOF 13:11. The land was split apart between the city and the mountain, and the sea rolled in upon it, so that the city was destroyed. The valleys of the mountain were filled with dead men and animals, and with trees. SOF 13:12. The high priest survived with 7 others who were priests. He brought these together with 110 men and their wives and children into Lebeth, which is a land among high cliffs at the edge of the wide plain. SOF 13:13. Here the priests sought to preserve their wisdom and knowledge and pass it on to the children, but it became distorted and misunderstood. They did not understand the radiating power from the bodies of the dead which could guide the living. Even we do not understand these things clearly. SOF 1314. The priests who came from the land of copper could make their soul depart from the body at their command and return as they willed. When ignorant men saw seemingly dead bodies return to life, when the soul came back into them, they thought the same could happen to a dead body if kept long enough. Even this superstition stays with us. SOF 1315. Later, when they had left Lebeth, men believed that if they kept a dead body so that it remained whole, the soul would not finally enter the sphere of accounting. Such was the knowledge of their wickedness and their fear of their fate that they used every art to prevent the body falling apart and entering decay. They may have believed that, until the soul entered the sphere above earth, it remained flexible and capable of acting to counter some of the ill effects of a life of wickedness and ignorance. SOF 1316. Later still, the light of truth dimmed until it could scarce be seen, but always there were the few within the many, and the many hid them. The light of the few was a precious thing, safeguarded with diligence and care. The people knew the many, but the few remained unknown, their treasures safe, gods multiplied, but those who sought truth among them could always find it if they were sincere and diligent seekers. It was then as it is now. SOF 1317. A nation was once made from the blood of kings, and it became great and good. The light of truth was revealed to this nation, and it rejoiced in the light. But in a few generations it accepted the light as being something to which it was entitled by heritage. So the nation became careless in the preservation of the light. It was kept in a poorly built and neglected shrine. The winds of adversity came, and the light was blown out. SOF 1318. Another nation was made from the blood of sturdy herdsmen, and the lamp of truth was lit among them. They too rejoiced in the light for a few generations, cherished it in a house of gold. Then a powerful king coveted the house of gold, and came with many armed men and drove out the guardians, together with their light. The guardians built a house of reeds for the light, but because the house was so humble, they no longer bothered to guard it closely. Then some drunken men came by, staggering like ships with broken steering oars, and the house of reeds was knocked over. The light within burst into an all-consuming flame, and not only the house of reeds, but the house of gold was destroyed. SOF 1319. Still another nation was made out of slaves, and they lit a lamp from the eternal flame, which belongs to all men. Because they had no veil over their light, they were blinded and thought it the only light. They became arrogant and called themselves the chosen of God. But it was they who made the choice, not he. Though their God was a God above earth, and their God, he was not the God of mankind. And though he serves the Supreme Spirit, he is not the Supreme Spirit. SOF 1320. So it is that the children of light understand that the majority of men who seek the light are like children playing about a brazier. As a man long confined in darkness is blinded by the sunlight, so are most men blinded when brought into the presence of the light of truth. Even though it be heavily veiled, only gradually can men be brought out of darkness into light. SOF 1321. Yet even the children of light have become divided among themselves, and one institution became two. The institution of the East claims it is the true guardian of the written records, but now we have books written even before those copied by the scribes of Hoskiah. We are not the children of the lesser light, and we know the mysteries of the hidden light. Only we in the cold north will survive. For did not Amos write, "Our destiny lies in a much bleaker land, where our seed will be planted in strange soil? It will lie within the bosom of an untamed land, until quickened to growth by the warmth of the desires of men." SOF 1322. Kita taught that this means we should not seek to spread or reveal the light until our day of destiny, which must lay ahead. Therefore, those who say we must multiply our strength or be lost like a bead among the wheat harvest are mistaken. They talk against our destiny, which is written and unalterable. SOF 1323. We know nothing of our first leader in light except that he was a priest warrior skilled with the spear, and he lived in times of war. His name is not recorded, for he said, True masters are to be known by their works and not by their names. They who seek to stand forth from other men and raise themselves up to increase their stature before the generations seek vainglory. He said, I am no more than the storehouse into which the harvest is gathered. The good grain within comes from many fields and is produced by the labors of many men. If I said all this is my own growing, I would lie. Therefore, so that men cannot attribute undeserved greatness to me, I make myself faceless, and men may see as they will. SOF 1324. In those days the children of light was sought out and persecuted, and no man knew another by his name, for the tools of the tormentors awaited them. Many were hung by the riverbank, feet uppermost, for the governor said, These people read their books upside down. The woman they consigned to houses of pleasure, so that many died in their degradation. SOF 1325. We know that the first leader of light was among the highborn of Egypt, and his name was struck on marble pillars. He was cast down because he carried the lamp of truth, and his name was removed from the records of Egypt. He raised an army, but it was like a goat attacking a wild bull, and he was slain in the great marshlands lying near Ethiopia. SOF 1326. He wrote the book which is known to all, and the book of rites and ceremonies which is known only to the elect. He did not write the 3 books in the lion urns, which we alone know, or the book of the secret way. He may have written the book of instruction for the children of the written word. Within the children of light, the manner of keeping the book is taught from generation to generation. The books are our foundation, our shield, and our sword. They are our promise and our hope, our guide and our defense. SOF 1327. It is said now, as in the days of our fathers and their fathers and the generations before them, that men steal our words and light their lamps from our flame. This may be so, but we have gathered seeds from the flowers of wisdom wherever they grew, and planted them within our own garden. Shall we then deny to others what we ourselves have taken? Is it not written that no man can make truth, but many can find it if they seek? Therefore, is not truth the property of all men, even though most spurn it? For truth is not a pleasant draught. SOF 1328. Nevertheless, it is true also that we may keep the truth as we find it, secured to ourselves. If a man seek for unwrought gold and find it, he has not made it, yet it is still his. Is it not also written, Gold is the treasure of a lifetime, but truth is the treasure of eternity? Gold can nourish the body, but it may poison the soul. SOF 1329. Which do men treasure most in this place, gold or wisdom? Is it not the earthly thing they can hold in their hands, and not the treasure they can safeguard in their hearts? The things they hold in their hands and hearts are already being weighed on the scales of fate, and our destiny decreed accordingly. SOF 1330. Many in this place who seek the light and have gone so far and no further declare this is not what they sought and go back, discarding what they have. Yet if a man seek gold and find silver, does he throw it away? Better half a loaf than no loaf at all. SOF 1331. If gold were as plentiful as copper, it would be valued less than silver. Only the things hard to obtain have value, and what is more difficult to discover than eternal truth, which must be sought beyond the boundaries of earth. Only the beginning of the long road towards it is here, and it is this beginning you must seek. Every journey has a beginning and an end, and you can make your way only in one direction. If you are dispirited, be comforted by the knowledge that you need only find the beginning of the road. Then, having found it, let every step you take be in the right direction. The journey is long and the road rough and stony, but do not turn back before you reach the first staging post. You will find new strength and encouragement there. SOF 1332. Our light was lit in the land of our beginnings. Many books were made and kept in 4 places, and we were in truth children of the written word. There were scribes and readers, officials and guardians. There were servants and those who served in the courtyards. SOF 1333. Strangers came into the land of our beginnings and brought practices which were different but more acceptable. They promised an easier road. They displayed deceitful marvels, the usual baits thrown to the ignorant. Their hands were heavy against us, and what could we show except truth arrayed in our earthly robes of simplicity? Even the princes turned against their own customs, and the twin priesthoods of the undergods became earthly wise and corrupt. Few were ready to undergo the perils of initiation. No more were prepared to accept the austere life prescribed. As spiritual barrenness spread, evil practices crept in to fill the places vacated by the sacred mysteries. The candidates accepted into the body of light became fewer and fewer. SOF 1334. As the name, the Children of Light, is written in the old characters, it may also be read as the children of the written word, and this is the truth. We alone preserve our secrets in this manner. The Children of Light followed a destined course by abandoning their altars in the land of their beginnings and went to dwell among strangers, where many ate at one table. We do not know what befell of their books, for those we have are rewritten. We know the children of the written word went northward after the scattering, but we do not know what were their journeyings. SOF 1335. We know about Luthan and Cavalcay, designer of houses who sailed around the edge of the earth. With them was Raleb, the scribe who knew hidden mysteries. They gathered the records which were in Kindia and carried them the long sea journey, believing the records safer among the barbarians than among those who sought to destroy them. If the records are destroyed by barbarians, it will be done in ignorance and not in the knowledge of wickedness. Many books were laid open to the eyes of ignorant men and destroyed. SOF 1336. They came to the harbor of sorrow, which lies by the hazy sea, away from the land of mist. Their great trees grew, and smaller trees upon them, and moss hung from them like door curtains. It lay near the great shallow water, south of the Isle of Halug, and north of the sea pass. Green pearls are found there. SOF 1337. Many died in the harbor of sorrow, for it was a place with a curse upon it, which caused an evil sickness. The sons of fire came with Hoskiah and saved them, and they came to this place and built a city. Lebron, the son of Koreb, was governor.